Revealed 7 Miraculous Steps to Effortless Quantum Manifestation Through Divine Guidance. In the quaint village of Hadley, where the sun rose as if painted by divine brushstrokes, Sarah felt a stirring in her heart that she hadn't anticipated. She was a devoted churchgoer, a vibrant mother of 2 with a smile that sparkled like the morning dew. Yet, in recent weeks, a shadow had crept into her home. Her husband had lost his job, and the weight of worry was a heavy cloak that wrapped itself around their family. Evenings that once echoed with laughter now succumbed to whispered prayers, directed by her husband's unwavering faith. Amid this struggle, a sermon one fateful Sunday shifted everything. Pastor John declared, "Miracles manifest through faith." His voice danced through the chapel, wrapping around the congregation like a warm embrace. "God's guidance will lead you to the 7 miraculous steps." The words sent shivers down her spine. They were the keys to divine blessings, a roadmap to hope. She felt something raw and transcendent, a lightning bolt of inspiration. Her mind swirled, heart racing. But then doubt crept in, like a chilling mist from the moor. "What if this is all nonsense?" questioned her skeptical brother, his brow furrowed in disbelief. Just as his words hung heavily in the air, a stark envelope landed on their doormat, an ominous debt notice, as if the weight of their struggles had materialized into paper. As the nights turned dark and her worries deepened, Sarah sought refuge within the pages of Scripture. Each verse was a lifeline, pulling her into a pool of divine presence. She closed her eyes, breathed deeply, and on the tip of her tongue prayer danced. It was during these intimate moments that she realized the essence of faith lay not just in answers but in questions. What was God's purpose for her and her family? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Moments later, inspiration struck again. Gathering the wise women of the church for a community prayer evening, Sarah felt a surge of courage. "We need to invite God into our struggles," she proclaimed as she envisioned the chapel filled with luminous faces, each one a bearer of faith and hope. As the evening unfolded, the air became thick with divine promise. Testimonies flew like doves, each story a reminder of God's grace. Fervent prayers hung and shimmered in space, urging blessings to manifest. As they prayed, the chapel vibrated with love and hope, igniting miracles. A bag of groceries appeared, anonymous donations poured in, and renewed connections bloomed. But in the midst of these unfolding miracles, Sarah realized her quest for financial stability was not just about money. It had ignited a profound spiritual journey. She found herself awakening to a tapestry of faith woven tightly with community bonds, richer than gold. Yet unanswered questions still swirled in her mind. With every miraculous step towards healing, she pondered what lay ahead for her family. Would their unity withstand the trials still looming? The suspense hung in the air, leaving Sarah and the reader equally anxious for the unfolding of divine intervention, each moment a step closer to hope. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah found herself waking each morning with a renewed spirit. The echoes of the church's prayer evening still lingered in her heart, reminding her of the profound bond she shared with her community. There was a quiet strength in the sisterhood that had formed, an unspoken commitment to support one another through trials and tribulations. Yet, despite the warmth with which they surrounded her, Sarah still felt the chill of uncertainty creeping into her thoughts. The envelope bearing their mounting debts remained a shadow on her kitchen counter, a silent reminder of the urgency that pressed against her chest. She would often catch her husband, David, staring at it, his mind heavy with worry. However, she could also see glimpses of hope behind his furrowed brow, as he continued to immerse himself in prayer and scripture. One calm evening, after the children had drifted into sleep, Sarah invited David to join her on their front porch. The sky was aglow with hues of lavender and gold as if washed by heavenly hands, and the gentle breeze carried with it a promise of peace. As they sat side by side, she poured her heart out to him, David, how do we truly manifest the miracles we seek? Is it just faith, or is there something deeper? He turned to her, his eyes reflecting the starlit sky. Faith is just the beginning, my love. It's about surrendering our fears and trusting God's plan, even when we can't see it. Sometimes it feels as if we have to let go before we receive. His words resonated deeply within her, sparking a flicker of light in her soul. Encouraged by this, Sarah knew she had to act. The following morning, she returned to the chapel, determined to seek out Pastor John. She found him standing by the altar, radiant with purpose. "Pastor, I need help," she said, her voice steady but her heart racing. He looked at her with warmth, nodding. "Ask away, Sarah. What troubles you?" With renewed conviction, she spoke of the community's recent blessings, her personal struggles, and her thirst for answers. Pastor John listened intently, each nod and word providing her with strength. Sometimes the steps we seek are revealed through action. Organize another prayer meeting, but this time, open it up for discussions on financial stewardship, how we can uplift one another and support our community in tangible ways. As she absorbed his wisdom, Sarah felt a burning desire to ignite change within herself and those around her. That very evening, she began drafting plans for the next gathering, driven by a newfound fervor. She realized that perhaps the first step towards manifesting miracles did not solely rest on praying for help but in taking proactive steps toward healing. The next Sunday, as she stood before her friends at church, she shared her vision. "We can create a fund to help each other in times of need," she suggested. "Let us not just pray for miracles, let us be the miracle." A buzz of excitement rippled through the congregation. Faces lit up, words of encouragement filled the air, and hands raised in agreement. The palpable energy surged in the chapel, and Sarah felt a profound connection binding them together in this mission. Yet, in the back of her mind lingered a question, one she couldn't shake. Could their collective faith truly unveil a remarkable change? As the crowd began to scatter into small groups, intent on planning their initiative, Sarah paused and looked around at their vibrant hearts united in purpose. She breathed in deeply, feeling the stirring of something greater than just a prayer, a divinely orchestrated move towards abundance. But in that moment of blissful hope, a sudden realization washed over her. What if miracles didn't manifest alone in their lives, but began from the very essence of their unity? With anticipation shimmering in the air, she turned back to her community, knowing that this was just the beginning of something profound. What miracle awaited them next, as they embarked on this path together? The following week buzzed with energy as preparations began for the community's first financial stewardship prayer meeting. Sarah felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Every new day brought glimmers of hope, and yet she carried the shadow of uncertainty with her. As she walked through the small market that served their town, she noticed a change in the people. Smiles were brighter, and conversations were filled with laughter. It was as if the idea of coming together had breathed new life into the community. Each person Sarah encountered seemed eager to help, and she felt their spirits rallying behind the initiative. That evening, as she sat with David, she shared her reflections. "Have you noticed, love? There's a new light in everyone's eyes. It's as if they feel a sense of purpose," she said, her voice tinged with wonder. David nodded, a smile breaking through his usual demeanor. "It's the beauty of faith uniting us. We are beginning to see ourselves as part of a greater tapestry, woven together by God's hand." Inspired by their conversation, Sarah took to her notebook. She began drafting ideas for discussions they could hold at the meeting, from budgeting to exploring ways to support local businesses. She imagined a space where they would not only pray but share practical wisdom, a community coming together to lift each other up in every sense. The night before the meeting, as she lay in bed, Sarah felt anticipation flow through her like a river of warmth. She whispered a prayer, asking for guidance and clarity. She wanted each voice to feel valued, each heart to feel heard. "You are their strength, Lord," she prayed softly. "Guide me to lead in a way that reflects your love and wisdom." Morning light spilled into the room, illuminating her thoughts. She felt a stirring in her spirit, an energy pulsing through her being. That day, the church buzzed with laughter and camaraderie as members began to filter in. The atmosphere was thick with expectancy, and every face glowed with passion. As the meeting commenced, Sarah stood before the gathering, her heart racing. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. Tonight, we are not just discussing finances. We are celebrating our unity. We are creating a structure for heavenly miracles to unfold. The crowd responded with murmurs of encouragement, eyes glittering with hope. Sarah invited them to share their stories. One by one, voices rang out, weaving tales of struggles and dreams, illuminating their paths. Sometimes it takes vulnerability for miracles to ignite, she thought, sensing the warmth of acceptance enveloping the room. When we share our heaviness, we can lighten each other's burdens. Moments later, a soft-spoken woman rose with tears glistening in her eyes. I lost my job last month, she shared. I've been scared to ask for help. But maybe we can rise together. The room fell silent. All eyes were on her, reflecting understanding. It was a moment of divine connection unified in a shared need. Shortly after, another voice joined in, and another. As ideas flowed and plans began to materialize, Sarah felt a profound sense of peace. Discussions transitioned from struggles to solutions, from despair to dreams. Together, they crafted a financial assistance plan, not through pity, but with love and empowerment. As the meeting concluded, laughter and chatter filled the air. Sarah looked around, her heart swelling with gratitude. Had they truly laid the groundwork for miracles? In the following days, even through challenges, she witnessed an undeniable shift. People began to help each other beyond the church. Families reached out to one another, sharing resources, meals, and prayers. The wave of unity surged stronger, and Sarah's hope began to blossom. But then, a sudden shadow loomed large when a letter arrived announcing a meeting with their creditors. Would this unity hold against the looming storm? As she stared at the envelope, she felt a mix of dread and determination. What would they do if these bonds were tested? Could they really transform their fear into faith and manifest the miracles that awaited them? The unfolding of their journey promised revelations, but they still stood on the edge of a precipice, willing to leap in faith. What awaited them beyond this trial? As the sun dipped low in the sky, painting the horizon with streaks of orange and purple, Sarah wrestled with the letter clutched tightly in her hands. Her heart drummed a restless beat, echoing the uncertainty that permeated her thoughts. The weight of the community's hopes felt heavy on her shoulders, yet a flicker of resolve ignited within her. Gathering with David and a handful of trusted community leaders, they convened at the church to confront their fears. The familiar warmth of the sanctuary welcomed them, a place once filled with joyful songs now shadowed by anxiety. David opened the meeting with a prayer, his voice steady and comforting, calling upon the Lord to fill their hearts with courage. Together, we have built something beautiful, he said, looking around the room. Let us lift up our worries to God and seek guidance through this challenge. We are not alone in this. As they each took turns sharing their fears, Sarah found herself surrendering her doubt. What if this meeting exposes our vulnerabilities? What if they see us as weak? Another member, an older gentleman named Mr. Harris, raised a hand gently. It's our vulnerability that brings us closer together. Through sharing, we can teach each other how to strengthen the very fabric of our community. His voice was soft, yet powerful, resonating deeply within Sarah. Encouraged, Sarah shifted the focus, asking each one to express their desires. What do we want to take from this meeting? I want us to show them our unity, said Mary, tears welling in her eyes. To express how we've grown together, and how faith has become our currency. One by one they spoke. Collective ideas sizzled in the air, transforming anxiety into purpose. We could present our plans for support, our stories of giving and receiving. Sarah chimed in. Let us open with prayer, showing them we stand firm on faith. The words resonated like a divine melody, lifting their spirits. Hope began to replace the dread that had woven itself around them. With newfound determination, they began to craft their presentation, weaving in testimonies of neighbors helping one another. The day of the creditors' meeting arrived. As Sarah stepped through the doors, a rush of anticipation filled her. The room was filled with faces, a mix of cold industry advice and eager expectations from the community. They had spent late nights preparing, pouring their hearts into a vision that showcased not just numbers, but love. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Thank you for meeting with us," she began, feeling God's presence flow into her. "We come here not just as a collective of individuals but as a community unified by hope, compassion, and the God who guides us." Each voice from her community shared stories, weaving a tapestry of resilience highlighted by faith. It was a beautiful sight, men, women, and children standing shoulder to shoulder, hearts bare and trust rising like a hymn. As they shared, the tension in the room shifted. Moments of silence allowed hope to settle, and when Sarah caught the gaze of Mr. Harris, a reassuring smile sparked the fire within her. The representatives listened, some nodding, others glancing at one another, intrigued. Then, Sarah took her final stand. "What we ask for is not just forgiveness of our debts but a partnership. Together, we can transform the lives of many, strengthening the very community that fostered this spirit of giving." A voice from the crowd challenged them. "What makes you think you can rise above these challenges?" A moment of hesitation hung in the air, but Sarah's heart leaped. "Because faith can do more than we imagine. This unity, this love we've built, it's a miracle waiting to happen." As the representatives conferred, the room fell into a contemplative hush. An unexpected peace settled around them, igniting whispers of agreement. The moment was heavy with possibility. Sarah's heart raced, uncertainty now mingled with the bubbling excitement of potential. As the meeting drew to a close, the future felt unwritten, yet alive with promise. But had they truly ignited the hearts of those whose decisions would shape their fate? Would their unity withstand the scrutiny of the world? The answer awaited them just around the corner, whispering of hope. As the representatives retreated to deliberate, the air thickened with a blend of hope and anxiety. Sarah's heart fluttered as the murmurs of the crowd swirled around her. Each footstep felt like a drumbeat in her chest, a reminder of the world's weight pressing down on their dreams. The congregation held their breath, and the silence washed over them like a gentle wave, calming the storm within. David stepped closer, his brow furrowed as he scanned the faces of their community. Each person there had risked so much. "This is our moment," he whispered to Sarah, his words a lifeline thrown into the churning waters of uncertainty. Together, they had wrapped their souls in the fabric of faith. In that sanctuary, where laughter once echoed, they had transformed fear into a sacred bond. David's voice rang out, "Let us gather again in prayer, let us remind ourselves of the strength we hold when we unite." As they bowed their heads, Sarah felt a shift. The room, once filled with tension, brimmed with a palpable divine presence. "Lord, we trust in your plan," she breathed, feeling the warmth of shared belief circle around them. "Guide our hearts. Let your light illuminate the path ahead." Moments passed, and soon the room was flooded with a soft, golden glow. It felt as if they were cradled in God's embrace. When they opened their eyes, the representatives returned. The seriousness in their expression settled within Sarah like a stone, yet she clung to hope. "After listening to your testimonies," began a tall man with a neatly trimmed beard, "we understand the depth of your commitment to each other. You have shown strength, and that has moved us." However, an electric tension recharged the air, and Sarah held her breath. "We cannot overlook the financial realities," he continued. "Forgiveness of your debts is complex. It would require more than heartfelt stories. Real change takes more." The room bristled with murmurs of disappointment, but Sarah's heart surged again. "We are prepared to demonstrate change," she interjected, the strength of her voice surprising even herself. "Our community has transformed since we began this journey. We've invested in each other, learned from one another." Mary piped up, her voice soft yet unwavering. "We can offer volunteering, support, true partnership. This is what we stand for. We want to not only rise above but to uplift others." Whispers of agreement rippled through the room. The representatives exchanged glances, their skepticism slowly morphing into curiosity. "Perhaps," the short woman with glasses began, her tone shifting, "we can explore ways to partner that do not solely focus on finances. Could you provide a plan, a vision for how your transformation could manifest?" A spark lit within Sarah. "Absolutely," she exclaimed, the passion bubbling to the surface like a brook finding its way over stones. We will show how our community supports one another. We've already launched initiatives that aid families and growing businesses. Imagine what we could achieve with your support. The representatives leaned in, interest twinkling in their eyes. We'll consider this proposal, the tall man said, but we need concrete steps. Excitement rippled through Sarah. What if we present our own plan, showing how we can work together in real terms, with measurable goals? The community buzzed with anticipation. Ideas began to flow, blending voices in synchrony, a sweet, harmonious choir. Faith whispered in every suggestion shared. They envisioned outreach programs, educational workshops, and celebrating victories together. As they finalized their ideas, a sudden peace blanketed the room. Sarah glanced around the faces of her friends, gratitude swelling within her. They were no longer individuals paralyzed by fear but a unified force of faith. Just then, as the representatives prepared to leave, the small voice from the back echoed in the stillness. Will you let us believe in miracles, or will we be returned to our darkness? Sarah's heart thundered. Standing at the edge of fear, they all held their breath, waiting to see what the answer would bring. The weight of destiny dangled before them like a thread of light in the abyss, a flicker of hope stirring again. What miracle would emerge from the commitment they were willing to make? The truth felt closer, as if an unseen hand was guiding them towards something extraordinary. The room held a vibrant stillness, like the calm before a storm. Each individual's heart beat in unison, a sacred rhythm echoing hope. Sarah, feeling the electric tension within herself, searched the faces surrounding her. It was as if the question posed had cracked open a window to possibilities long buried beneath layers of doubt. The tall representative cleared his throat, his eyes darting toward the crowd as if searching for courage. Miracles begin with belief, he said quietly, words heavy with his own uncertainty. But belief, without action, can scatter like leaves in a gust of wind. Can you show us that your faith is alive? Can you take measurable steps to ensure it continues to thrive? A hush enveloped them as Sarah felt the weight of the challenge. She glanced at David. His reassuring grin anchored her spirit. We can unite in a tangible way, she said, determination coursing through her veins. Let us create a roadmap, a series of steps that demonstrate our commitment. Mary nodded. Let us transform our ideas into outlines, she added, her voice steady with purpose. How about we form teams? Each group can tackle different areas: outreach, education, community support. We can combine our strengths into something powerful. A wave of enthusiasm swept through the gathering. Sarah felt a lightness in her heart. This was a chance not just to save themselves, but to inspire those around them who once felt as lost as they had. Let us break into groups, David suggested, an infectious excitement bubbling in his words. We'll brainstorm objectives and timelines. Real change is intentional. With that, the community flowed into smaller cliques, the once solemn air now alive with laughter and conversation. Ideas clasped hands like children in a playground, dancing in the light of newfound hope. As Sarah collaborated with her group, she experienced a profound revelation. What if we initiate a Day of Miracles event? She proposed. An annual celebration where we share our journeys, the support we offer, and the assistance we need. This isn't just about us, it's about lighting a path for those behind us. Tears glimmered in Mary's eyes as she nodded. Beautiful. We'll share stories of help and healing. It will serve as both testimony and inspiration. We involve the community at large. Excitement surged around the room. Ideas flowed freely like the river of faith flooding their hearts. They spoke of mentorship programs for youth, workshops aimed at teaching life skills, and neighborhood beautification projects that echoed God's love. Hours slipped away, yet time lost its meaning as the community stirred in a symphony of cooperation. Conversations rippled through the space, a tapestry of voices representing dreams, fears conquered, and futures unfolding. Finally, Sarah touched David's arm, her heart thriving with warmth. We have something remarkable here, don't we? This is just the beginning. David nodded, a proud smile lighting his face. We will be the example. We will ignite faith around us and show the world that even when burdened, we stand together. As the atmosphere glowed with anticipation, the representatives gathered again. Their expressions hinted at expectations. "What do you have for us?" the tall man inquired, his voice steady yet laced with curiosity. Sarah took a breath, feeling the weight of destiny swirling around them. Her voice rang clear as she stepped forward. "We have a plan, our vision for collective change and hope. But beyond that, we have each other. Together, we can manifest miracles." In that moment, the air crackled with possibility. Would they grasp this chance to break free from their chains and weave something beautiful? What miracle awaited on the other side of their courage, their faith? The journey to revelation had just begun, and answers lingered just beyond the horizon. The excitement hung in the air, palpable like the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Hope was their companion, wrapping around each heart that beat within that room. As Sarah stood before the representatives, she reflected on the transformation that had taken place, not just within herself, but within everyone gathered. Together, she continued, her voice steady and strong, "Let us create a vision that speaks to every heart in our community. A vision of unity, where no one is left behind. We will not only lead ourselves to transformation but also guide others who seek purpose and light." The representative's brow furrowed, clearly impressed but cautious. "And how will you ensure this vision grows beyond mere words?" "Miracles, as you say, must be rooted in action." David stepped forward, a spark of inspiration in his eyes. "We begin with small steps. Each one of us can start in our own neighborhoods. We can gather with those we know, hold small meetings, share stories, connect over our struggles and victories." Mary added, excitement dancing in her voice. "And we won't stop there. Our day of miracles will be the culmination of our efforts, a celebration of hope where we invite the entire community. Through testimonies and outreach, we share the blessings God has poured into our lives." The room buzzed with a newfound energy, hearts swelled with courage. They felt a ripple of divine purpose, a collective heartbeat echoing in unity. Ideas flowed like a river, empowering each person to contribute their unique gifts. Hours turned into moments as they sketched their vision, a tapestry woven from countless dreams. "Let us have workshops on faith and healing," someone suggested. "Yes. A space where people can come to understand their own journeys," another added. As the conversations deepened, Sarah felt her spirit lifting. These ideas weren't mere plans, they were seeds of change waiting to blossom. Bursting with enthusiasm, she raised her hand. "How about we partner with local churches and groups? There's strength in partnership. Together, we can create programs that bolster those among us who feel lost or broken." Each suggestion was like a bead placed on a string, connecting their aspirations. Laughter erupted as people shared their skills, cooking lessons, art sessions, gardening projects. Each person recognized that their faith bore the potential to create wonders. A moment of reflection caught everyone's breath. They saw that they were building not only service opportunities but relationships, each thread binding them closer, forming a network of support and love that would shield them against despair. "Miracles aren't solely about the grand, are they?" David pondered aloud. "It's the small, consistent steps we take together. Every act of kindness, every moment of shared joy, they are all part of the miraculous." Sarah nodded, feeling every word he spoke resonate deeply. "If God is with us, who can stand against us? When we act in faith, we will see His hand at work." The room erupted into murmurs of agreement, the room sparkling with conviction and shared belief. They were ready to embrace not just the planning, but the growth that would come with each step taken in unity and purpose. Together, they knew they would face whatever trials lay ahead, emboldened by their commitment. As the gathering wound down, Sarah looked around with gratitude. "We have ignited something powerful here, but let us remain open and attuned to where God leads us. Who knows what doors He may open for us?" A hush fell over the crowd, each person lost in thought, considering their own journeys ahead. What would this road of action look like? What challenges lay ahead? And, more importantly, what miracles awaited them in this shared mission sprinkled with faith? A spark ignited that night, but would they keep the flame burning, no matter how the winds of change blew? With wonder in their hearts, they departed, hearts and minds swirling with the anticipation of what lay ahead. A journey began that would test their faith and fortify their spirit, but would it lead them to the miracles they sought? Only time would reveal the treasures of their efforts and the extraordinary guidance that awaited on the path forward. Days turned into weeks, and the energy lingering from their first gathering transformed into a quiet determination. Each meeting, each moment of sharing stories, began to cultivate the seeds they had planted. Sarah's heart brimmed with hope as she visited neighbors, inviting them to join in the blossoming vision they had nurtured. David was already spearheading a workshop on faith and healing at a local community center. The laughter of children blended with the warmth of adult conversations, as families gathered, sharing their hearts and lives. A miracle doesn't have to be loud, Sarah reminded them during one such gathering. Sometimes it whispers through the bonds we build. Mary had taken to organizing cooking classes, gently teaching families how to prepare healthy meals together. Each lesson became a celebration as families connected over the joy of creating something together. As the day of miracles approached, excitement grew. Word spread like wildfire throughout the community. Flyers, crafted with care, adorned community boards in churches, schools, and local markets. Each announcement was not merely an invitation but a testament to their collective dream. However, with joy came anxiety. Not everyone believed in their shared vision, and Sarah felt the weight of doubt sometimes. What if they failed? What if their work didn't resonate? The thought cut deeply but was quickly drowned by a chorus of encouragement from her friends. Together, they could weather any storm. On a rainy afternoon, they gathered once more, eyes filled with passion and purpose. In the dim light of the meeting room, David's voice rang through, strong and vibrant. Let us talk about our testimonies. We each have a story of how we've seen God at work. How about we focus on how these miracles have touched us? Hesitant murmurs met his suggestion. Personal stories can expose hidden pains. But as one by one, they shared their experiences, a sacred vulnerability enveloped the room. Each story became a thread, woven tightly in the fabric of their community. Tears flowed freely, not from sadness, but the powerful affirmation of God's presence in their lives. Look how far we've come, Mary whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Each of us has faced our shadows. Yet here we are, together ready to shine. Suddenly, a newcomer spoke up, a middle-aged man named Gary. He had slipped into the room quietly, watching intently. I've seen faith move mountains, he said, his voice steady. But I buried mine long ago. My marriage is broken. My kids want to talk to me. I feel so lost. Silence took hold, each gaze locking onto Gary's. In that moment, it felt like an invitation to something deeper than mere words. With gentle encouragement, they surrounded him with compassion. Amid the comfort, prayers lifted, soft but powerful, requesting healing and connection. As tears fell, the warmth enveloped Gary, somehow rekindling hope within him. Sarah felt the Holy Spirit's presence, igniting a realization. Their gathering was not just an event. It was a movement. After the meeting, the group stood outside, gazing at the dim glow of streetlights. A sense of clarity settled over them, mingling with the cool night air. With hearts ablaze, they shared one final thought before departing. We are not just waiting for miracles. We are becoming the miracles in each other's lives. And then, just as they were about to part ways, a bright streak of light crossed the sky, illuminating the night. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. They could only exchange glances of wonder. Were they witnesses to a divine omen? Sarah's heart raced. What if this was just the beginning? What did this sign mean for them? A glimmer of mystery lingered in the air as they walked away, excitement coursing through them. Would they embrace the whispers of the divine guidance ahead? What awaited them in the unfolding chapters of their journey? The answers beckoned from the horizon, shrouded in anticipation. The next morning felt different for Sarah. Sunshine streamed through her window as if all of heaven were celebrating. With a heart full of expectation, she prepared to meet her friends, eager to share the feeling that thrummed within her like a rising tide. She walked through the neighborhood, her spirit lifted. The air was fresh, painted with the promise of new beginnings. Children played outside, their laughter weaving joy into the fabric of the day. As she passed Gary's house, she paused. A flicker of hope coursed through her. What if he had taken a step forward? What if her invitation to share was breaking his barriers? With a quickened step, she knocked on his door, hesitating only for a moment before he opened it. His tired face brightened when he saw her. She could sense the weight of burdens still clinging to him, but today, something was different. "Good morning. I just wanted to see how you're doing," she smiled warmly. Gary nodded, his gaze shifting to the ground. "Better. I went to your gathering last night. I felt something there." Sarah's heart soared. "That's wonderful. You felt the love, didn't you?" He chuckled softly, the sound breaking the tension. It was comforting. "Then why not come again? We have more planned for the Day of Miracles. You'll meet more people. They want to hear your story." Gary inhaled sharply, uncertainty veiling his features. "I don't know if I'm ready to share." "Just listen then. You don't have to say a word until you're ready. Just being there could lift you up." He looked up, and for the first time, Sarah recognized a glimmer of hope igniting within him. "I'll think about it." The day unfolded beautifully, with families busily preparing for the upcoming event. Sarah found David at the community center, bursting with ideas. "We need to create a space for healing during the Day of Miracles," he said passionately. "What if we set up a prayer circle? A place where anyone can bring their burdens?" "Yes!" Sarah exclaimed, her heart racing. "And we can invite people to write their prayers down. It could be a wall of hopes and dreams." As they brainstormed, excitement crackled in the air. It was as if they were weaving a tapestry of love and faith, each thread a story, a prayer, a miracle waiting to unfold. In the following days, the anticipation grew, and the sense of divine urgency reverberated among the group. Mary's cooking classes turned into healing sessions of sorts, laughter and learning mingling with counsel and comfort. On the afternoon before the event, Sarah found herself reflecting on how far they had come. She could hardly believe it. Each gathering they had held was a small miracle in itself, an ember igniting the hearts of those who had lost the light. On that evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, an unexpected visitor stopped by the community center. A woman named Linda stepped through the door, her eyes heavy with the weight of sorrow. She had heard whispers of their gatherings and felt compelled to come, looking for solace. Sarah felt an inexplicable pull toward Linda. Approaching her gently, she offered her hand. "Welcome. We're glad you're here." Linda's hands trembled. I don't know if I belong here. I've faced so much loss. I've given up on hope." With warmth and compassion, Sarah led her to a small group in a circle, buzzing with laughter and stories. Gradually, the walls around Linda began to crack. As the group shared their tales of struggle and hope, Sarah watched the light slowly return to Linda's gaze. In that moment, she sensed a deeper significance, a truth pooling around them like holy water. Together, they weren't just telling stories. They were reigniting faith. As the light faded into twilight, Sarah spoke softly, "Each of us is a flicker of hope for the other. What if we're the miracles we've been waiting for?" A collective silence fell, the weight of such a thought enveloping them all. Linda's eyes glistened as she whispered, "I think I can believe again." Just then, the lights flickered momentarily, as if punctuating the divine presence around them. The air hummed, heavy with possibility, and they all paused, hearts synchronized in the moment. Was this the beginning of something monumental? Would their growing faith lead them to even greater miracles beyond their wildest dreams? The question hung in the air like a prayer, deepening their resolve to embrace whatever sacred path unfolded before them next. The Day of Miracles dawned with the brilliance of hope breaking through the night. As the sun rose over Hatherley, painting the town in hues of gold, Sarah's heart raced with anticipation. The air buzzed with excitement, echoing prayers whispered in the stillness of the morning. Families gathered at the community center, each person carrying a story, a gift, and an unspoken need for connection. Tables were artfully adorned with snapshots of love, the fruits of their collective labor reflecting their journey. There were handmade banners, each proclaiming unity, faith, and the miracles that had already bloomed among them. As Sarah looked around, she saw familiar faces patting each other's backs, children laughing, and parents sharing tender moments. It was like a tapestry woven by divine hands, rich in colors and textures, testimonies of shared struggles and unveiled hopes taking root in the soil of faith. David moved amongst the crowd, exchanging smiles and laughter. Their community had transformed from individuals weighed down by burdens to a vibrant gathering of unwavering support. Sarah's heart swelled with gratitude. They were making history together, a living testament of faith manifesting through action. As the festivities began, Sarah took the stage, her grip on the microphone firm, yet her heart oddly calm. She saw every eye fixed upon her, each one reflecting trust and anticipation. Welcome to our day of miracles. Today, we come together, not as strangers, but as family bound by faith. She felt the energy ripple through the crowd, igniting their spirits. Throughout our journey, we have known despair, but together we step towards hope, she proclaimed. Now let us celebrate the abundance of blessings that fill our lives. Miracles aren't just moments of grandeur, they happen in every shared smile, every open heart. They dwell in each connection we forge. Laughter and applause erupted, mingling with the spirit of hope. Stories flowed freely as individuals stepped forward to share their journeys. From financial struggles to rediscovered love, each tale echoed with themes of redemption, connection, and unwavering faith. Gary was among them now, standing tall as he recounted his awakening. Joining this group changed everything for me. I once feared vulnerability, but you all wrapped me in compassion. I am learning to trust again. Together, we are being the miracles we need. Tears flickered in the corners of eyes as warmth enveloped him, a shared sense of triumph glowing brightly in their hearts. Linda stepped forward, her voice trembling yet strong. I come from a place of deep sorrow, but each of you showed me that life is not just about surviving, it's about loving each other fiercely. I see now that hope doesn't just find us. We gather it like rain into a cup. Their testimonies illuminated the room, creating a divine atmosphere thick with joy and gratitude. As the day wore on, tables transformed into circles of fellowship and prayer. Families gathered around, exchanging prayers scribbled on paper, voices mixing in a tapestry of faith. Sarah watched as individuals stayed entwined in conversations, laughter bursting like fragrant blooms. Love was in the air, and God felt so near, a palpable presence guiding each moment. As dusk began to settle, the time had come for their final act, a ceremonial release of their written prayers turned dreams. Together, they gathered around a glowing bonfire, each holding a small slip of paper. With hearts beating together in anticipation, Sarah led them in a prayer. Father, we thank you for the miracles we've witnessed today. As we release these prayers to the fire, let them rise as fragrant offerings to you. May our faith, hope, and love be the light that guides our community. As they cast their prayers into the flames, sparks leaped high into the evening sky, intertwining like a dance of gratitude. Watch them rise, Mary exclaimed, her voice clear and joyous. With every flicker, they saw visions of their dreams. Their hopes intertwined with unwavering belief. It was an emblem of their unity. A divine declaration that they were not just waiting for miracles, they were embodying them. In that sacred moment, as flames danced fiercely against the sky, the crowd erupted into an indescribable chorus of joy. Laughter, shouts of praise, and humble declarations filled the night with goodness. They were witnessing not just the celebration but also the miracle of transformation unfolding before their eyes. As the evening drew to a close, Sarah looked at David, their eyes shining with the glow of what had transpired. We did this together, she whispered, awash with awe. Yes, love, he responded, the warmth of his heart resonating. Faith has led us to become the change we sought. And as the stars twinkled like promises above them, Sarah realized that their journey was far from over. They would face trials. They would encounter doubts. But together, in faith, they had become a beacon of hope, a living testament that miracles blossom when love and unity come alive. In the end, they knew they were never alone, for God's love held them all in His embrace. Now, as these profound stories draw you into the light, You need to subscribe immediately to be the first to witness the next exclusive faith stories that will uplift your spirit. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and spread this divine inspiration. Your reactions and testimonies in the comments are invaluable, so don't hold back. And most urgently, don't wait even one more second to share this powerful message with at least 5 friends who need to experience this manifestation. Together, let us illuminate the world with our faith.